Your mind is a storm you are lost in. You feel the pull of every thought, the fear of every worry, the sting of every memory. You are trying so hard to find the shore, but you are just swimming in circles. What if I told you the storm is not the problem? The problem is that you believe you are the storm. Watch until the very end, because the final key I will share will not just calm the storm, it will show you that you were the sky all along. Mindful observation. We live in a world that is constantly screaming for our attention. Our phones, our work, our own ambitions, they are all pulling at us, demanding a piece of our focus. And in this noise, we have forgotten how to listen to the one thing that truly matters, the state of our own mind. We have an engine inside of our head that is running all day, every day. It never stops. But have we ever taken the time to truly look at this engine, to understand how it works? For most of us, the answer is no. We are simply passengers in a vehicle we do not know how to drive. The thoughts come and we are taken for a ride. The emotions surface and we are swept away by the current. It feels chaotic, uncontrollable. This is the first step. Not to fix anything, not to change anything, just to observe, to acknowledge the chaos without judgment. Can you sit for just a moment and see the thoughts as they are? You might see a thought about a deadline, followed by a memory from childhood, then a worry about the future, then a sudden urge to check your phone. It is like watching a sky full of wild, fast-moving clouds. For now, your only task is to be the observer, to notice the clouds without trying to command them. You do not get angry at a cloud for being dark, you simply notice it is a dark cloud. Can we apply this same gentle curiosity to our own inner world? This practice of observation is a form of deep respect for yourself. You are finally taking the time to get to know your own operating system. Before a gardener can cultivate a beautiful garden, they must first understand the soil. Is it dry? Is it rocky? What is already growing there? They do not judge the soil. They study it. They understand it. Our mind is this soil. For years, perhaps our entire lives, we have been throwing seeds of expectation and frustration onto this soil without ever checking if it was ready to grow anything. We have been demanding flowers from a ground filled with stones. So the first step is always the same. Put down the tools, put down the seeds, and simply look. Simply be with what is already there. What you will discover is often referred to as the monkey mind, the mind that jumps from branch to branch, never staying still. It grabs a fruit, takes one bite, throws it away, and immediately jumps to the next branch. It is restless, agitated, and easily distracted. Seeing this is not a failure. It is a profound success. The moment you can see the monkey mind in action, you have created a separation. There is the monkey mind, and there is the one who is watching the monkey mind. In that small space of separation, all of our power lies. Before this moment, you were the monkey. Now you are the consciousness that is aware of it. This is the beginning of freedom. This is the beginning of learning how to think. Building structure. Once we have observed the chaotic nature of our untamed mind, the next question arises. What do we do? The impulse is to try and force the mind to be still, to wrestle the monkey into submission. But this only creates more struggle, more noise, more agitation. The mind cannot be forced, it must be guided. And to guide it, we need to build a container for it. We need to create a structure. Think of water. Water without a container, a riverbed or a cup, simply spreads out into a puddle. It has no direction, no power. But once you provide a structure, a path for it to follow, it can become a powerful river that carves canyons. Our mental energy is this water. Without structure, it is a puddle of anxiety. With structure, it can carve a new path for our life. This structure begins not in the mind, but in the body. The mind and body are not two separate things. They are two ends of the same stick. If you want to influence the mind, begin with what you can most easily control, your physical reality. How do you wake up in the morning? Is it chaos or is there a rhythm? How do you sit? Are you collapsed or are you upright? A collapsed posture sends a signal to the brain of defeat, of low energy. An upright, stable posture sends a signal of alertness, of readiness. This is a simple physical structure that has a profound impact on your mental state. You are telling your mind how you want it to be, using the language of the body. The same is true for our daily routines. A routine is not a prison. It is a riverbed. It is a structure that frees up mental energy. If you have a set time for waking, for eating, for working, for resting, you no longer have to waste precious mental energy deciding what to do next. The decision is already made. The path is already carved. This allows the mind to relax. It knows what is coming. This predictability creates a sense of safety and calm, reducing the background hum of anxiety. The monkey mind thrives in chaos. It is calmed by gentle, predictable structure. It is not about being rigid like a soldier. It is about being rhythmic like the seasons. There is a time for activity and a time for rest. So, look at your life. Where can you introduce a small, simple structure? It does not need to be a grand revolution. Maybe it is just the first 10 minutes of your day. Instead of grabbing your phone, you sit and have a glass of water. That is it. A simple, repeatable structure. Or maybe it is the way you end your workday. You take 3 slow breaths before you stand up from your desk. You are creating a clear boundary. You are building the banks of the river. Each time you follow this small structure, you are casting a vote for order over chaos. You are training the mind gently that there is a guiding hand, a hand that is not aggressive or forceful, but steady, reliable, and wise. This foundation is everything. Without it, any attempt to think correctly will be built on sand, directing focus. Now that we have a structure, a container, we can begin to work with the energy inside it. This energy is our attention, our focus. Attention is the currency of the mind. Where you place your attention is where your reality is built. If your attention is constantly on your worries, your reality becomes worry. If your attention is on what you lack, your reality becomes lack. The ability to consciously direct this focus is perhaps the single most important skill a human being can develop. It is the rudder of the ship. Without it, you are simply blown about by the winds of circumstance and conditioning. With it, you can set a course, even in a storm. Imagine your attention is a flashlight in a vast, dark room. The room is your mind, and it is filled with all sorts of things: memories, ideas, fears, dreams. The untamed mind is like a broken flashlight, flickering randomly all over the room. It illuminates a scary monster in the corner for a second, then a beautiful painting, then a pile of garbage with no rhyme or reason. This is why we feel so scattered. We are not in control of the beam. The practice of directing focus is learning how to hold the flashlight steady, to choose where to point it and to hold it there. How do we train this? The same way we train a muscle, through repetition and gentle resistance. The simplest way is to choose an object of focus and intend to rest your attention there. The most available object is always your own breath. You are not trying to change the breath. You are just resting the beam of your flashlight on the physical sensation of the air entering your nostrils and leaving your nostrils. Inevitably, the beam will flicker, a thought will arise, and the flashlight will instantly point to it. The monkey will jump to a new branch. This is not a failure. This is the moment of training. The training is not in keeping the flashlight perfectly still. The training is in the moment you realize it has moved. That moment of realization is a moment of pure awareness. And in that moment, you have a choice. You can scold yourself, "Oh, I got distracted again, I am no good at this." Or you can gently, without judgment, guide the beam of the flashlight back to the breath. Every time you do this, you are strengthening the muscle of attention. Every time you notice you are lost in thought and you gently return, you are performing one repetition. At first, you may only be able to hold the beam for a second. With practice, it becomes 10 seconds, then a minute. You are not fighting your thoughts. You are simply choosing not to give them your most precious resource, your attention. Navigating feelings. As we begin to steady our focus, we will inevitably encounter one of the biggest sources of inner turbulence, our emotions, feelings of anger, sadness, fear, or even intense joy. Our usual relationship with these feelings is one of two extremes. Either we are completely consumed by them, becoming the emotion itself, "I am angry," or we try to suppress them, to push them away, pretending they do not exist. Both strategies lead to suffering. Being consumed by an emotion is like being swept away by a river. Suppressing it is like trying to build a dam with weak materials. Eventually, the pressure will build and the dam will break, leading to an even bigger flood. There is a third way. This third way is to treat emotions as we treated our thoughts in the beginning, as objects of observation. To approach them with curiosity. An emotion is not you. It is a visitor. It is a weather pattern passing through the sky of your awareness. When a dark rain cloud appears, you do not become the cloud. You are the sky that is holding the cloud. The cloud is temporary. It will pass. The sky remains. Can we have this same relationship with our feelings? Can we feel anger rise within us? And instead of becoming it, can we say, this is the sensation of anger. Where do I feel it in my body? Is my chest tight? Is my jaw clenched? Is there heat in my face? You are not analyzing it to make it go away. You are simply meeting it with awareness. You are giving it space to exist. What we resist persists. When you fight an emotion, you are feeding it with the energy of your resistance. When you allow it to be there, without judgment and without getting lost in the story behind it, it is able to run its natural course. Like a wave, it will rise, it will crest, and it will fall. Your job is not to stop the wave. Your job is to learn how to surf. And you learn to surf by being present with the energy of the wave, by feeling it, respecting it, and moving with it, not by trying to command the ocean. This is a very brave act. We are so afraid of our own feelings. We will do anything to avoid the discomfort of sadness or fear. We distract ourselves with entertainment, with food, with work. But by doing this, we are never allowing the energy to complete its cycle. The emotion gets stuck inside of us, stored as tension in the body. By learning to sit with a difficult feeling, by breathing into the physical sensation of it, you are allowing it to be processed and released. You are not the anger. You are not the sadness. You are the safe space in which the anger and sadness can arise, be felt, and pass away. This is true emotional mastery. It is not the absence of difficult feelings, but the ability to be with them with wisdom and compassion. Curious inquiry. Now that we have a stable foundation and the ability to direct our focus without being swept away by emotion, we can begin to engage with our thoughts in a new way. We can move from being a passive recipient to an active investigator. This is not about arguing with your thoughts or getting into a fight with your own mind. It is about applying a gentle, curious inquiry. It is about becoming a scientist of your own inner world. When a thought appears in your consciousness, especially a persistent and painful one, instead of either believing it blindly or trying to force it away, you can hold it gently and ask it some questions. The first question is simple. Is this true? A thought appears. I'm going to fail this presentation. Instead of letting the anxiety spiral, you can hold that thought and ask, is it absolutely 100% true that I'm going to fail? Can you know the future with absolute certainty? The answer is always no. Instantly, the thought loses some of its power. It moves from being a fact to being a possibility. It is just a story the mind is creating. You are not denying that you feel afraid of failing. You are simply questioning the objective reality of the thought itself. The second question is this thought useful? Does thinking I am going to fail help you prepare better? Does it give you more confidence, or does it drain your energy, create tension, and make it more likely that you will perform poorly? Often, we will find that the thoughts that cause us the most suffering are also completely useless. They are like a rock in our shoe. They serve no purpose other than to cause pain with every step. Recognizing a thought as not only untrue, but also unhelpful gives you the permission to let it go. You are not pushing it away. You are simply withdrawing your interest in it. You see it for what it is, a piece of mental noise that is not worthy of your precious attention. This process of inquiry creates space. Before, there was the thought and there was the belief in the thought. They were fused together. Now there is the thought and there is you, the investigator, looking at the thought from a distance. You are examining its credentials. You are checking its validity. Most of our stressful thoughts are like salespeople who knock on our door. They are very convincing, they use fear tactics, and they demand our immediate attention. For most of our lives, we have been buying everything they sell. Curious inquiry is the practice of opening the door, listening to their pitch, and then saying, "Thank you, but I'm not interested today," and gently closing the door. You are reclaiming your home. You are deciding who you let into your own mind. Finding stillness. All of these practices, observation, building structure, directing focus, navigating feelings, and curious inquiry, all lead to and are strengthened by one central hub, the practice of finding stillness. In the modern world, we think of stillness as a waste of time. If you are not doing something, producing something, consuming something, you are being lazy. But this is a profound misunderstanding of how we function. The body does not heal when it is running, it heals when it is at rest. The mind does not gain clarity when it is agitated, it gains clarity when it is allowed to be still. Stillness is not emptiness, it is a state of potent receptivity and integration. Imagine you take a glass of water from a muddy river. It is cloudy, you cannot see through it. If you shake the glass, trying to get the mud out, what happens? It only becomes more cloudy. But if you place the glass on a table and you simply let it be still, what happens? Slowly, patiently, the particles of mud begin to settle at the bottom. The water does not do anything to become clear. The clarity emerges naturally from the stillness. Our mind is this glass of water. It is filled with the mud of our daily experiences, our worries, our conditioning. Our attempt to fix our thoughts is often just shaking the glass. The practice of stillness is allowing the mud to settle. This does not mean you must sit in a full lotus position for hours. Finding stillness can be as simple as taking 3 conscious breaths before you start your car. It can be 5 minutes in the morning where you sit with a cup of tea and do nothing else. No phone, no book, no planning. You are just present with the warmth of the cup and the taste of the tea. You are creating small islands of stillness in the ocean of your busy day. These small moments are incredibly powerful. They are like pressing the reset button on your nervous system. They interrupt the momentum of stress and reactivity. When you practice this regularly, you begin to carry this stillness with you. It is not just something you do when you are sitting on a cushion. It becomes your new baseline. You can be in a busy meeting or a difficult conversation, and while the surface of your mind is engaged, there is a depth of stillness underneath. You are no longer the muddy water. You are the clear water and the mud that has settled at the bottom. You can see the mud, you know it is there, but it no longer clouds your vision. You can think clearly even in the midst of chaos, because you have touched a place within yourself that is naturally calm, naturally clear, and always available to you, if you just give it the chance to emerge. Daily integration. The ultimate purpose of all this training is not to become a great meditator. The goal is not to be able to sit perfectly still in a quiet room. The goal is to bring this clarity, this awareness, this freedom into every single moment of your life. The training ground is not the cushion. The training ground is your relationships, your work, your commute, your dinner table. This is where the practice truly comes alive. It is the integration of this inner wisdom into your outer actions. How does a person who can think clearly act in the world? When you are speaking with someone, are you truly listening? Or are you just waiting for your turn to speak, planning your response while they are talking? A clear mind is able to offer the gift of its full attention. It can listen without judgment, without the filter of its own needs and opinions. This changes the quality of your connection with others profoundly. People feel seen, they feel heard because you are actually there with them, not lost in the chatter of your own mind. Your presence becomes a gift. When you are performing a task, whether it is writing an email or washing the dishes, can you do just that one thing? The untamed mind will be washing the dishes while also worrying about a bill, replaying a past argument, and planning the weekend. It is in 3 places at once, and therefore it is nowhere. A trained mind has the ability to unite itself with the task at hand. It brings its full energy to that one point of action. When you do this, not only is the task done better, but it ceases to be a chore. It becomes a practice of mindfulness. There is a deep satisfaction in doing one thing at a time with your full being. This is not a state of perfection you must achieve. It is a continuous practice, a path you walk. There will be days when you are lost in the storm. You will get swept away by emotion. You will believe a painful thought. You will lose your focus. This is part of the path. The difference is that now you have a map. You know how to find your way back. You can notice, I am lost, and you know the steps to return. You can come back to your breath. You can re-establish structure. You can question the thought. You are no longer a helpless victim of your own mind. You are its gentle and wise guide. The quality of your thinking determines the quality of your life, not the circumstances of your life, but the way you relate to them in your own mind. By learning to observe your thoughts without being them, to build a structure for your energy, to direct your focus, to navigate your feelings with wisdom, and to inquire into your beliefs, you are not just learning to think correctly, you are learning to live freely. You are cleaning the inner lens through which you see the entire world. And when that lens is clean, you see the beauty that was always there, both inside of you and all around you. The secret to mastering your mind is not to add more knowledge or to fight harder. It is to learn how to subtract. It is the art of letting go of the thoughts that are untrue and unhelpful, letting go of the resistance to your feelings, letting go of the need to be constantly busy. In this process of subtraction, what remains is your natural state, a state of clarity, presence, and peace. This is not something you need to acquire. It is something you must uncover. It has been waiting for you, patiently, beneath all the noise. The journey is simply the path back home to yourself. For years, I felt like I was at war with my own mind. I thought the goal was to win, to finally defeat the anxiety and the negative thoughts. This video just made me realize I was the one supplying both armies. The idea of just observing, of being the sky instead of the storm. It's the first time I felt a sense of peace in a decade. I just sat here after it ended, and for the first time, I just let a worry come and go without fighting it. It feels like I can finally breathe. Thank you isn't a big enough word.